I appreciate. I can tell you're deep in thought and you're giving genuine answers, and that's what we want. So we appreciate that. So that's the most important thing to us as hosts, is that we're having real, real dialogue and getting real answers. And I can tell you're doing that, and that we truly appreciate that. So what I want to do is, Mike hasn't got to hasn't got to be involved too much so far. So what I want to do is I just want to pause for a minute, and Mike, if there's some things that you would like to ask Jerry, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and I want to say, Jerry, I appreciate you. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. It's we say this with everybody, but it's true. To step into the lion's den with a bunch of atheists is would be intimidating, even for an atheist to step on a show with Christians, and because you're the only one, and so I appreciate that. You got to basically fight for yourself and for what you believe in, and I do respect that to the degree that I can. So I wanted to mention that, but I wanted to ask you first off, like when did you last? Because you said you had some doubts and stuff at times, but when did you last honestly question your God belief? Was it that time that you had told about?
Question my um, belief in God. That was the time between
Yeah,
those
like yeah, just honestly.
4 and 5 years. For since my
Oh,
experience with him, and like he got me through that surgery too. That was really blessed to have that. Since then, I've never doubted that he exists and he is real. He's real to me. It's just whenever it's my fault. It's my fault if I don't hear from him. Like, yeah, it's me straying away from him and not spending time in the Word. Is I can't blame anybody but myself. But yeah, like you asked, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Or between those 4 and 5 years where I was kind of searching and wasn't sure what I wanted to believe. Like, it's not because of how I was raised. I want to say that again, because some of you might think, well, you're indoctrinated because your mom and dad brought you up this way, read you Bible stories, and made you believe this God that isn't even real. God didn't reveal himself till, what was it, 4 years ago to me. I believed in him, but he was kind of an imaginary friend to me, like he would be to you guys right now. All I can say is it's hard for atheists to understand, but you have to have that personal relationship with God. It That's the only way you can have that, in my opinion. Like, you can see evidences of like God's works working through people's lives and stuff. And even in church and stuff, I've experienced stuff, but like, if you want me to, let me say this, if you want me to prove to you that this was God's voice, or prove to you that he's up there, or give you a picture of him or something, I can't do that. I can't give you like complete evidence that this was him, or I know it was him for me. For myself, I know God is
yeah,
real.
my intent is not to. Well, I was gonna say my intent is not to ask you to prove him to me, or anything on that nature. These for me is more of you started a belief at A and then you come to your conclusion at Z. I'm trying to figure out the rest of the alphabet in between those steps. Is basically what I'm the most interested in, and why I want to do these types of shows and things like that. But so that said, I mean, it kind of sounds like you would do a form of faith for your belief. And
Yes.
would that sure? Would you rather have evidence or would you rather have faith for a belief?
I, I want both. Like, I want both. The Bible is evidence to me. Like, that's a book written by man, inspired by God. It's the word of God, and that's evidence for me. But I know it's not for you guys. Like, I don't think somebody would have just written that book. for the heck of it and left a whole bunch of stories in there that weren't true just to mislead everybody.
Mm.
I
Well,
don't know.
sure. Well, what if you discovered that your belief was causing some harm? Would you be open to re-examining it for accuracy?
Believe it was causing me harm.
No, no, no. I'm saying if you discovered that your belief was like could cause harm or causes harm or has caused people harm, would you be willing to re-examine it or look into it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm kind of trying to segue into like how you would think like certain things that the book would say that would be harmful, like say the views on uh, non-believers or homosexuals or witches, whatever, disobedient children, things like that. Do you think that those all still serve purpose in the modern world? I mean, or how do you like do you abide by all of those types of things within the book, or how do you go about determining, what the book says and what you should consider and what you shouldn't in terms of those beliefs that I would consider harmful?
Are you asking me like what people if I believe the things that are in the Bible that could be like harmful for people who might not believe in it or live a certain type of lifestyle or what? Like,
Well, certain things that are written in the Bible, like in Leviticus or things like that, where it's very specific on things you shouldn't do, or Exodus, where it's kind of like a guideline on how to treat uh, servants. I'll say. Um, so, like, if we took something like homosexuality, would you think like, let's just start with that. I mean, do you think that is a sin, like in your book? Do you think that because to me that's a harmful belief to hold. So I'm trying to figure out like where in your book do you kind of draw a line on certain things that are clearly inhumane, or if you do you accept them all?
yes, I do believe it is a sin. For me, I didn't write the Bible. Like God is in control of he inspired people to write this book. So he's the one who put all these things in this inspired people to put these things in this book. So as me for
Hmm.
to
So would you
believe
say that it's right?
it's not I can't take the
I'm sorry.
responsibility of it. What?
Yeah, of course. And I'm not pinning that on you, but I mean, are you trying to say that like God commands it because God commands it? Like, would you think that because God says it's say homosexuality is wrong, so therefore it's wrong? Is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yeah. He says it's not good. And honestly, I for
Sure.
me, I'll say it this way. For me, I'm not going to judge somebody if they're gay, trans, whatever. They can get married gay. I don't care. That's their life. They can live it how they want to. But as for me, I still believe the Bible, and I'm not going to tell people how to live their life. If it was me
Mm,
and a gay person
mm,
talking, I would not tell them, "Hey, you're going to hell or you're sinning. You need to repent." Might share the gospel with them, but I'm not one to tell somebody,
yeah.
"Hey, you're going to hell because of how you're living." I'd rather be like, "Hey, this is my story. Try to connect with them first, maybe be a friend with them first, not get into religion too deep."
Sure. And that's respectable. Sure, and I can respect that to a level. And some sense I can. But what I would want to know at that point is why would you think that it got what I guess for because I'm not a Christian, so and I haven't really gotten a good response in this, but why would you think that God would create a person to be gay and then knowingly that they could go to hell and also not why would he want a human to show him that when that wouldn't be the person's fault. Why would God create them that way just for them to just eternally burn anyways?
We're all born, or we're all born into sin, in my opinion. Like, as a Christian, I believe we're all born with selfish desires. I mean, I've had all kinds of things in my mind that I wanted to do, but I didn't do them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've been tempted to go, I don't know.
But why, so why would God give certain people, if we're all born into sin, why are some people born into more sin and sin that's and really uncontrollable? I mean, that they can't control because, from my understanding, that's not something you can control. That's just the way you are, So why would God give uh, invariant levels of sin to people? What purpose do you think that would serve?
I wouldn't say we're born with more. Some are born with more sin than other people. We are all, but like, from my point of view, let's put it this way. Okay, let's
But
say somebody who is a pedophile. They can't help it. Like, they're sick. They're just attracted to certain things, but they're gonna again end up going to jail if they do something that they're not supposed to. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I know I shouldn't compare that to.
well, I don't think that's analogous. I don't think that's analogous because you're taking something that in which so a pedophile, yes, you're right. That is something that's wrong with their brain, okay? And people shouldn't be necessarily pointing the finger at somebody who has that because it's against their control. Now, if they act on that, that's different. So are you trying to say that as long as they don't act on gay tendencies, they're okay? Or because being gay, that was why I said invariant. It never it doesn't change. It
Yeah.
doesn't. That's not how it works in biology.
Right.
So why would God give an unfair invariant sin to somebody, but then give variant sins to people, or give sins to people that they could ultimately change? Do you think that would be fair?
I don't know. I've heard stories from people
Yeah.
who been gay and they've found God and they completely changed their life. That's what I mean. Like, people say we can't change, but it is possible. I've seen Satan worshipers come to God. Like, no matter how far into sin we become or we go, we can even worship the devil for all we know. But
Yeah,
there's
but you
always
can
hope.
change that. That's the I guess that the point I'm trying to make is that can be changed is the point I'm trying to make. The distinction why I bring up somebody is because that doesn't you can't change your genes. Like that's not you can't do that. So I'm stuck. And I don't mean to I'm not trying to get hostile or anything, but I feel like we're talking past each other because you're mentioning if I was in your worldview, I would agree. Yeah, that person cannot be a Satanist. They could do those things. They could change that. They could be insincere and change it. Uh, and then come to God, and then that would be the equivalent to someone who's gay. I mean, it wouldn't be a sincere thing because that's who they are. I mean, I can't go tell my roommates right now who are lesbians to go change who they are. I can't tell them to go get married to me instead of her wife. That's just not how it works. So why would they be stricken with, and then me or you only be stricken with things like greed or lust or things like that, where we can control those things?
That's not easy either. I mean, even as a Christian, I mean, I'm tempted
Sure.
with stuff all the time. It, Being a Christian, I can tell you this: being a Christian and trying to follow every single commandment of the Bible it's the hardest thing you will do in your life. But as for your question about like homosexuals and why he would send them to hell for just being gay, I can't answer that really. I'm not God. I don't know his view on that, I guess. He says it's a sin, but all
Sure.
sins can be
Sure.
forgiven.
So I guess in my yeah, and my last question, I guess, on that sense would be, then why would you think it's wrong if you can't hold the answers and you can't know the mind of God? Why would you assume that the mind of God is right?
Because for me, it's because he's in control. Like I believe he's in control of this universe. He's in control of everything. He knows every hair on our head, every thought in our mind, everything. He knows. I know you guys probably don't think that way. Like you want your, you probably believe in evolution or something happened naturally. And for me, I can't come to that.
Sure.
Like I can't believe that something came from the Big Bang and created like everything in the world, or something evolved, like animals evolved into human
Sure.
beings, or I don't know.
Look into speciation, because we actually do have examples of speciation within the last 100 years within plants, and a lot of people with organisms, it's a little bit more complex for that change to happen in just a matter of observable years. But yeah, I appreciate you answering those questions. I think I know those are tough ones, but I try to change up my questions. I don't want to repeat myself every single episode with why do you believe what you believe. So I wanted to try to touch on something a little bit more. I think that everyone goes through. I mean, for me, I a game with a married couple, and they're some of the most awesome people I've ever met. So I'm just kind of want to get your opinion on that and see what you kind of think about that that level of sin compared to others. But I appreciate the answers.